Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again. You're listening to World Combat Sports. What's up, everyone? And you know what it is. We back at it. My special guest today is the one and only Luis Hernandez, undefeated boxer and bare knuckle competitor. Hey, tough dude. I'm really looking forward to speak with him. You know, I kind of had the opportunity to see his career blossom into what it is, and he's did an amazing job. So give me a minute to get him on, and we're gonna rock and roll with this. And those of you that's in the building and dropping a live chat, do me a favor. You know, elbow kick, knee, jab, the thumbs up button, and you know if you have any comments for Hernandez, let me know. I will ask him. See what he's talking about. But just give me a minute. And always appreciate the supporters that tune in. The World Combat Sports, as always. You're not taken for granted. You truly appreciate it. So let me sometimes these boxers, this is their first time joining in on these lives. So it take them a little bit of time to get moving. But we good. It's no problem. We got patience. I'm gonna try to speak with him about, the difference between boxing and bare knuckles. A lot of people haven't really caught on to bare knuckle fighting unless you're truly a hardcore combat sports fan. It is a difficult task than boxing as we know it. I mean, not devaluing anything about the sport of boxing, of course, it's the hurt business. It's been around for way longer than bare knuckles in a regulated sport. But it's catching on, real fast. And it's a lot of people that's tuning in to bare knuckles because now you have fighters who once was boxers or mixed martial artists. They have a third layer if they choose to venture off and compete. A legitimate layer that's pretty much similar to what they're used to, and that's bare knuckle fighting. So of course, it's without any type of gauze or wraps on your knuckle properties. It becomes very serious. You have to know how to place your punches, how much energy to put into your punches. And that's what makes it quite difficult to just say you're going to switch over from boxing to bare knuckle, because it's 5 rounds and you have to do a lot of thinking in there when you compete in bare knuckles. So you won't break your wrist, break your hand early on in the fight. You have to apply a bit more strategy, punching competence. You have to have that attrition in mind first and foremost. Now, there's some cats in there, you wouldn't even think they have attrition to survive, because when they break their hand, they've been there before. They don't even care about breaking it. You know what I'm saying? So they go in there and throw balls to the wall, man, and get it in, and they don't care about anything. There's been some bloody wars, in boxing, mixed martial arts too, but it's been some serious ones in bare knuckle. I mean, when them competitors get cut, they get cut. I mean, if you look back at the Joey Beltran and Tony Lopez, whoo, that right there was one of my all-time favorites when it comes to bare knuckle fighting. I'm talking about BKFC. All right. Like I said before, I followed the bare knuckle that was underground with Billy Gunn and all them other cats. I have, but I'm talking about regulated, sanctioned bare knuckle fighting. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Christine for real. I know she's probably going to be stepping back in there, going for her championship belt. But yeah, man, it's very interesting. I've attended a couple of myself, and I was able to see it firsthand. And it's a very interesting sport. I would encourage you all to start tuning in to BKFC. You know, shout out to David Feldman and the guys, Mort Goldsmith. You know, all them guys is playing an intricate and prominent role in keeping this BKFC in the forefront of combat sports. It's not something that you just say, well, let me go in here and think you're not going to get touched up. You're fighting with no gloves on, no wraps over the knuckle properties, like I said, and you got to get it in. Period. You definitely have to get it in, man. Y'all hold on for a second. Let me see if he's able to hit the link and join. These fighters, sometimes they have sparring going on and everything else. So it is a waiting game sometimes. It's nothing, it's nothing to me. I know what hurry up and wait is. But first and foremost, the person who's giving the interview needs to be on time. You don't want to keep these fighters waiting. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, H Money, Mr. Zone in the building? Salute to you, man. Solid interview you just finished up with Otha Jones, man. I was peeking in, but I had something already scheduled. I really couldn't come on today, man. But y'all make sure y'all follow H Money, Mr. The Zone over there. Check him out. Just finished doing an interview with Soul City Boxing. Otha Jones, an upcoming rising star in the sport, along with Isaiah Steen that's over there. You got Charles Conwell. You got Roshan Jones. You have a solid team that's over there that's making it happen for these fighters. And they're legit. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing fake about them. They put in the work, and it's only a matter of time before you see these guys making noise on the big screen. And some of them already been there, but the other ones are en route, man. So, go check it up on his channel, man. Appreciate you stopping through. I'm waiting for Luis Hernandez, people. I had the chance to see his career blossom. I got much respect for this guy. He's an undefeated boxer. And he chose to go over here and try out a bare knuckle fight. And the bare knuckle fight is just not an easy schedule that you pick up on and say, this is something I want to do as a fighter, because you get fucked up in there. I've been ringside. I've seen what goes on in bare knuckle fighting. It is an art. You definitely have to be methodical in how you go about applying your offensive strategy when you in there competing. You have to. Glenn Avery in the building. Salute, man. What is up? Great interview with great prospect H. For real. Y'all be sure to check out those interviews that's going on, man. Get these young fighters, these young fighters that's anywhere, give them some shine. If they give you shine, make sure you give them shine. Especially, Soul City Boxing, salute to you. You're doing it big over there. Shout out to Coach Roshan Jones, man. We will link up sooner or later, but go check out the interview that he just finished with a rising star in Otha Jones. Yeah, they just did a partnership with his own. Before that, they was basically just appearing on, regular network that they was affiliated with, but they just did a deal with the zone. And what it's going to do is allow bare knuckle fighting. It's going to allow bare knuckle fighting and the zone to link up together and allow each other to piggyback, and allow growth for each organization. The zone is also a part of Bellator. The zone was also a part of WBSS. So, it's only a branch within the combat community that the zone is spreading their wings and allowing other organizations to link up and be affiliated with. So that's going to provide us with, more viewership, and it's going to allow more fighters. So here we go. I got my man Luis Hernandez in the building. What's good, everyone? First and foremost, salute to everyone that's in the chat, man. I have the pleasure of speaking to my guy, Luis Hernandez. What's good?
Hey, not much. Just drawing up some house plans.
All right, let me put you on right quick. There you go. So first and foremost, Luis Hernandez, man, thanks for stopping through World Combat Sports. Man, I have had the pleasure to see you, your career blossom, man. You undefeated as a boxer, 8-0, 6 knockouts.
Yes,
But
sir.
most recently, bro, you chose to go over the bare knuckle fighting, which I cannot say a lot of boxers with your experience, your level of experience would have chose to step in the arena of bare knuckle fighting. How did that all come about, man?
Well, it's just everything in boxing is slow right now, and I I found a piece of property that I'm really interested in, and I needed the money. So I was like, man, like let me go ahead and see about this bare knuckle stuff. They say they're paying pretty well, and I need the money, so let me try it out. And I tried it out. It's pretty rough. It's different from boxing, that's for sure. But
Hey, so I remember you told me that, and I know you've been through the trenches, man. I know you've been through the trenches. I've seen several of your fights, but what made it tough about bare knuckle fighting that really registered with you as a fighter to say, man, this is a tough sport. I don't think I'm gonna do it no more.
I think the name itself, the name of the sport, says it all. Bare knuckle. That's what makes it more dangerous, and that's about the main thing that really caused me to be more careful about the sport, because you get cut up, you get bruises, you get all black eyes and broken bones, and that's really what makes the sport more intense compared to boxing.
So tell me this, Lewis. What was the conversation with the first time you said you was going over the bare knuckle? Did you speak to Roy Jones Jr. or did you just tell your family?
Uh, I just told my girlfriend, uh, and then when I told my family, they didn't want me to do it because they said I was gonna end up all cut up, and I got a 6-year-old son, and he was watching some bare knuckle highlights, watching people get knocked out like in the first seconds.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Daddy, are you gonna get knocked out like that?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna get knocked out." And my son, even though he's young, he was throughout the whole time he was anxious and waiting on it, and you could tell he was a little afraid. But yeah, I did what I had to do.
Was he in the building?
Nah, he didn't go. He was watching me on TV though.
Oh, okay. Man, I got to salute you for making that decision, Lewis, man, because I know for those of you that don't know, he is one of Roy Jones' fighters. He's trained down at Bodyhead. So if you did not see the fight, um, I've seen a lot of progress. I saw a lot of what you've been taught down there by Roy Jones Jr. I saw it in your movement, man. I seen you applying it. And I was like, saying to myself, I was like, damn, it's been a while since I seen you actually, either shadow boxing or training in general.
Yeah.
How did it feel in there, man? What was the jitters like the first round, man, when they introducing you? I'm watching the fight, introducing you, and you about to venture over into another combat sport such as this.
The thing is, I'm all about the business now. I just want to make the money, and I want to get out the sport whenever I'm done. So I wasn't nervous. I was actually very eager to try it out. I was waiting on the moment for the bell to ring, and I was ready. So the only thing about the sport is very dangerous, and it could end my boxing career, and it could also affect me in life. Period. I'm too young to end up all with broken bones, a broken hand. And I got a life to live, and I gotta have a job. So it was a very dangerous thing to do, but I needed the money, so I did what I had to do.
Well, I have to commend you, Lewis, man. You didn't take that much damage in what I seen. I'm not saying you didn't feel any punches. I'm just saying your opponent, his
Yeah,
eye was swelled up and everything else, man. I didn't see you losing no teeth. I didn't see you get knocked down. How was what was your strategy heading into that first time in bare knuckles, man?
yeah. My game plan was to make sure I didn't get hit. I took about a very few hits, but my goal was to make sure that I didn't get hit because like I said, I could ended up with a broken orbital bone or I don't know. Um,
But your opponent had much more experience than you in mixed martial arts
yeah,
and crossing over the bare knuckles, man. I think you have to be the only fighter I know with the least experience to step over there in bare knuckles. I'm not sure, but I think you are.
yeah. The thing is, like, if it would have been boxing, I probably would have won it. But they based their decision off of who looks more aggressive, and I didn't really care in the end of it. I was doing it for the money, and it isn't gonna affect my boxing record. I actually got more recognition out of bare knuckle people. So I mean, I feel like I did a good job. I could have won the fight, but I would have ended up more cut up and more bruised up, and that's what I did not want.
So you saying that bare knuckle fighting, they judge off the aggressiveness, right? But your opponent's eye was closed shut and it was talking like, stop hitting me. You know what I'm saying? So how is that possible, Lewis? Like you did more damage to your opponent, but yet they gave him as being more aggressive. How did that work, man?
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that when they announced him the winner, I did not care. I wanted to get up out of there. I was that was a very brutal sport to go into, and I feel like not very many people would join bare knuckle.
I agree, man. I agree. I have to ask you about the atmosphere. When I went, it was a huge crowd there, man. I was able to see Paulie Malignaggi and Artem Lobov
Yeah.
um, and some other fights that took place. How was the atmosphere in there? Was it, any fans? Did they have the crowd noise and everything going on? How was that like?
Well, I'm guessing the audience and all that. So it wasn't a lot of people there. But there was a few people there,
Okay.
but it's I don't know. It's a sport that's growing, and I like my audience in boxing more. Maybe my the fans that I have, they probably would have went if it wasn't for COVID. But the Hispanic fans that I have, they support me a lot, and I love that energy that they give off.
I got you. I got you. Shout out to the live chat, man. Denise Wars, the boxing queen in the house. Good evening. Glenn Avery says salute to you, Lewis. SB90 say what's good. WCS. Appreciate that, Guido. He said, shout out to Glenn Avery and World Combat Sports. I appreciate everyone. If you have any questions for Luis Hernandez, ask him. He's one of these fighters who's a boxer, still is a boxer, undefeated, 6 knockouts. And he chose, like he said earlier, he saw property. So instead of him waiting on, boxing to regain his traction, he said, I'm gonna step over here in the bare knuckle fighting arena, which isn't no joke, y'all. He pretty much telling y'all it's no joke, it's a dangerous sport. And he stepped over there and went all 5 rounds, man. He came up short, but if you look at his opponent looked like he took more damage, to be honest.
Yeah.
What was the conversation like, man, stepping on deck? Who were you there with, man? I heard Roy was supposed to be in your corner, but who ended up being in your corner that night?
I ended up getting Dustin DePuma. He coaches at Primal Martial Arts Academy here in Forest,
Yeah.
Mississippi. And I've basically been training on my own and making sure that I'm in shape. And most of my training I do it on my own. All the conditioning and everything, I make sure that I'm up there. Uh, I've been with Roy for about 2 years, almost 2 years and a half. But I got into a personal issue recently, and I had to end up getting a new job, and I moved out of my previous home. So it affected everything economically
Yeah.
and financially for me. And I had to leave Roy's farm. So I told him whenever I got straightened out, I would go back. But it's getting pretty hard, especially with the whole COVID thing going on. And like I said, now I'm in the process of getting a home and a piece of property, which is why I took the bare knuckle fight. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to go back with Roy or not. I would love to. If I got a coach, it would be Roy. Roy knows a lot about the game, strategies and plans and everything. And, I'm just trying to make the best of it, trying to make sure I'm in tip-top shape in case I get a fight offered. Um, that's how bad I want to be a world champ at least one day, hopefully.
Yeah.
But if not, at least I want to make some money and be able to, set myself up for the rest of my life.
I definitely feel you on that, Lewis. It's been tough on a lot of fighters like yourself being out here, going through this pandemic, not being able to get fights in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're not a name that's signed with a huge promotion company. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I really wish you the best in getting that taken care of and getting back on track. H Money said, Lewis, would you dare do bare knuckle fighting again? If it came down to it, would you do it again?
Yes, I would. Now that I've had my first bare knuckle fight and I was able to experience it, I'm able to adjust and work on the things that, that I feel like I could have did better.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I would do bare knuckle again if the money was right. But for what I got paid my last fight, I wouldn't do it again. It's not worth it.
I got you, man.
Like after the fight, like my neck was very sore. I couldn't turn. I had to turn my whole body in order to look, to the side.
Oh, okay.
My fist was swollen from how much I hit the guy.
Yeah.
All my fist. I couldn't close my hand. It was all swollen. And my eye swelled up, my lip swelled up the day after. And I had plans on taking a fight against I believe it was Joey Spencer.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to take that fight after that bare knuckle fight, hoping that I came out healthy. Well, since I came out all sore and I ended up getting I believe what's called peroneal tendonitis on my foot. I wasn't able to put pressure on my foot for about a week, and ended up causing me not to take the fight against Joey Spencer. So
that would have been on what? That would have been on the Showtime card, right?
I believe so. It was in Los Angeles or somewhere in California.
Okay.
But that would have been a good fight for me. It would have been a tough fight for me, actually. But, if I would have come out on top on that fight, it would have taken me places. And, that's the kind of opportunities that I'm waiting on right now. That's why I have to make sure that I'm in tip-top shape and that I'm staying training. But even though I don't have a coach officially, I'm training myself and I'm making sure I'm staying dedicated to the sport.
Okay.
So,
a good information there, Lewis. Guido said, "Salute, Luis Hernandez. I want to ask you your favorite fighter growing up."
Favorite fighter growing up, boxing wise, my favorite fighter has been Roy Jones Jr. because of his style. I've just loved the way he knocked people out. And that's what fascinated me most about boxing was the way people get knocked out by Roy Jones Jr. And, even though he didn't ask, my second favorite fighter is Julio Cesar Chavez.
Okay.
I love the way the Mexican people praised him and honored him. And, they cheered him on and followed him in the sport, and it just amazes me to see how a Mexican fighter like Julio Cesar Chavez would bring such a big crowd following him. And
for those of you that don't know, he's talking about Senior.
Yeah, Senior. I'm sorry, not Junior. Junior.
Yeah, I wanted to get that verified. You know what I'm saying? I know who he was talking about.
Julio Cesar Chavez Senior. Yeah.
H Money said, "Do you believe that bare knuckle fighting is the future of combat sports?"
I would say no. No, because the majority of the people fighting in the sport are grown men or old men. Because young men aren't going to have the cojones to get in there and fight bare knuckle.
Okay.
And I believe that the younger people are the people who give the best fights because they're so energetic. They're so, they're at the young stage of their life. And the old people, they're too slow. They're just there to get banged up. And so I would say no, it's not the future of the fighting or the combat sports.
All right. You being honest. Glenn Avery said he sounds like a natural warrior. You know what I'm saying? They're giving you love out there. And like you said, bare knuckle fighting in itself, even for a fighter like Lewis. And shout out to Fernando Bunch, El Terrible in the building, man. Thanks for dropping through, Fernando. That's another one of the Roy Jones Jr. fighters that train down there on Bodyhead Island. Glenn said, "Hey, Lewis, what do you plan? What plans do you have for your career after bare knuckle fighting?" He basically, I think you said that you're going to stick to boxing and so forth, and try to see where that takes you, right?
Yeah, I'm going to stick to boxing. I'm undefeated in boxing. I can make the same amount of money right now in boxing that I will in bare knuckle, and not come out, all with broken bones or hands or cuts. And so, I mean, like I said, if I get offered some good money, yeah, I'll go back to bare knuckle. I'm not afraid of it. I actually enjoyed it, but for the amount of money, it's not worth it, especially at my age.
Hey, for those who haven't been down to Bodyhead Island, Lewis, and you've been down there for quite some time when you was actually residing, what is something that you can tell those who tune in who have heard about Roy Jones Jr. training tech? The cocks that he have down there, man. I mean, he have y'all do some training techniques, man. It's pretty much, legendary old school boxing, man. What is something you can tell us?
Well, I can tell you, I've seen on social media how they try to show that Mike Tyson is very explosive and all these hard punches and all these fast punches. The thing is, they're only showing a little clip, and Mike Tyson won't be able to do that 8 rounds. I feel like, he's old. He may do that if he's able to. He'll do it the first round. Once he wears down, Roy is gonna, take him down each round. We always work with Roy, so Roy's able to sit there, toe to toe and take punches, block punches, and counter attack. So I feel like Roy is gonna outsmart Mike Tyson.
Okay, that's a good info. Okay, I hear you. So do you think, hearing Mike Tyson trying to say, hey, what did he say? He said he was like sending a warning out to Roy Jones, like he was going for the knockout. So you saying Roy would pretty much, be elusive in the early rounds, and then he'll start to break Mike Tyson down in the mid to late rounds, right?
Yes, sir. It's just Roy's style and Roy's mentality is a very smart one. He's always thinking, he's always trying to cut corners and go around certain things, trying to figure things out. So I believe Roy always has a game plan to everything, to any style. If the guy's a boxer, if the guy's a brawler, if the guy's a Mexican style fighter, it doesn't matter. Roy creates a plan and always has a backup plan, even if his plan doesn't work. So I believe Roy is very smart, and he's always gonna come out on top.
So Roy did it at certain points of time, have you go out there and catch chickens or cocks or whatever they have on his property. Y'all was basically going through that training regime, right? Y'all had to catch chickens and everything.
Well, Fernando Bunch, did it.
Okay.
I didn't caught him some chickens. I never caught me a chicken.
Okay.
Never interested me. I think I chased some one time, but it's just I have bad knees. So I'm not able to go and do all that bending and all that. So, but I did my sprints and did my running, and I stayed in shape.
So you say you was about to step in there with Joey Spencer, man. That fight fell out due to the residual damage that you received from bare knuckle, right? So do you have a projection, man, on when we're going to see you re-enter the square? And just because that big fight fell off, do you believe you'll be able to rebound and get another solid name, to coming up in the sport?
Well, I've gotten some solid names offered already.
Okay.
But some of them have.
You mind sharing with us?
Yeah. What's his name? The guy that fought Mayweather.
That was many.
No.
I know it ain't Conor McGregor.
No, he has
So,
a son. He has a junior that's fighting right now in middleweight.
um, he has a junior that's fighting in middleweight. It will be
Uh,
what ethnicity, man? Black,
black,
Hispanic, white,
black. No, he's
black dude.
um,
He has a junior that's fighting in middleweight.
yeah. Dang, what's his name?
Is he ranked in the top 10, 15?
I'm not sure. I know he's been fighting under the Golden Boy cards.
Okay.
Um, Dang, I forgot his name. Mosley Jr.
Oh, okay. Shane Mosley Jr. That'll be a pretty good fight for you, man.
Yeah, but they ended up telling me that I didn't have enough fights, so they declined that. I wanted to fight. What's his name? Do you know the Towering Inferno?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sebastian Fundora, I believe.
Yeah. Sebastian Fundora, I would have to say that'll be an extremely tough fight for you, Lewis.
Yeah, that's a tough fight, but
That dude is tall, rangy.
yeah, I would have to be very sharp, very quick, very. I would have to be in tip-top shape for something like that. But you know, at the time, I spoke to his manager. Forgot his name, but they ended up telling me that I didn't have enough fights, and I was like, all right, well, I'll keep building my record up, and I believe I also got.
But Sebastian Fundora, he's only 13-0, isn't he, or something like that?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he don't have that much experience, but he can fight though. He can box. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, he can, but his height actually makes it. It's a slight opening, but it's an opening, you know. And,
Yeah.
You know, he's long, and that's what that small opening is good for. But you'd have to be very sharp and in very good shape to fight someone like him. But I also got offered what's his name? White Chocolate. I forgot his name.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. White Chocolate. His name is
He's out of New York.
yeah.
Um,
It's not it's not Vito. No, it's not Vito Melnick, is it?
they call him the Justin Bieber of boxing. He's got blonde hair. He looks like
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I actually seen him fight in Vegas, man. I know who White Chocolate is. Yeah, yeah.
They offered me him as well, and they ended up telling me that he was already matched. So
that would have been a good fight.
I'm just gonna stay in tip-top shape and wait on an opportunity, because you know, even with the small amount of money, I can use that to start a business, and I can set myself up for life. You know, I don't need millions of dollars. You know, I'm a hardworking man, and you know, I just want to give my family a better life, and that's all I want to do.
I feel you on that. Guido said, facts, Luis, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., he is loved by Mexicans and Hispanic people. They always show support.
Yeah.
Glenn say, what type of dieting do you go through, and how high do you see yourself getting in weight for competition in your career?
Dieting, well, I just try to stay away from all the carbs and all the garbage.
Yeah.
Try to stay as light as I can, so I won't have to drop as much weight as I would if I wasn't eating healthy. Not just that, but when you're not eating healthy, it makes it harder for you to drop the water weight, because your body holds on to it the more fat you have on. So, you know, just eat chicken, fish, eat light. And what was the other question?
He said that how high do you see yourself competing in the weight class? How high of a weight class do you see yourself competing in the sport of boxing?
Well, I was fighting at 160, and I was having a hard time getting to 160.
Okay.
Roy Jones Jr. suggested that I go down to super welterweight, which is 154, and it's pretty hard, but I ended up making it the first time, and that's the way that I'm gonna stick to. And I don't know. I think the highest weight I would probably go up to would be maybe 165. It just depends on how my body grows.
All right.
I don't know if I'm gonna end up staying like this the way I am right now, or if I'm gonna end up increasing in weight. But it all just depends on where my career takes me. Like I said, if I make some money to where I can start a business and set myself up and forget about boxing, I'll be happy with that. It's just boxing is so tough. It's so intense. It requires so much training, so much focus, and it's very stressing, and it takes a toll on your body. So,
Hey, you have no disagreement here, man. And last, hey, Guido, Shane Mosley Jr., not Shane Mosley, his son, Shane Mosley Jr.
Jr. Yeah, he's he's got like 3 losses, I believe.
Yeah, we just seen him fight, man. He has some holes in his game. If you are looking at the way Sebastian Fundora boxes, well, you're definitely going to pick out the holes that Sugar Shane Mosley Jr. because he has some holes in his game, man.
Yeah. The thing about Fundora is he's got a very tight defense.
Yeah.
But whenever he attacks, that's when he leaves himself open, and that's the best time to attack him is when he's attacking you.
I know, and you're right, man. Donnie Marshall, he is a tough fighter. He had the wrong game plan for Fundora, but Clark had a better game plan. In my opinion, I think he beat Fundora. Fundora should have had a 1 on his record, but I think it came out to a draw. Yeah. But I see where you're going with it, Lewis. Seriously, I see where you're going at it with Fundora, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you get back in there, man, and everything else that's surrounding your life right now. Yeah. Hey, I wish you the best out here in life, man, because I know it's tough, especially if your full-time job is boxing, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's tough out here. So, where can your fans, man, follow you on social media, man?
Luis Hernandez on Facebook or Instagram, either one.
Okay. So how many weeks you gonna take off before you try to jump back in the ring? Are you suspended for like what 60, 90 days or what?
I didn't get suspended at all. It's just like I said, I fought on Friday, and on Monday, like I said, I was very tense. I couldn't move my head. I couldn't turn my head. And on Monday, I woke up and I couldn't put pressure on my foot. And I ended up looking it up, and it said it could be peroneal tendonitis, which comes from excessive running or wearing the wrong shoes.
Yeah.
And, I couldn't put any pressure on my foot. I was hopping on one foot. And I've been off about a week and a half, and I'll probably start back training next week. But if it wasn't for that, I would have started training on Monday right after the fight. But let me show you something I'm doing right now. I actually studied architecture.
Okay.
And, I dropped out of school at Mississippi State University to pursue boxing. And right now I'm drawing a tiny house.
Yeah.
That I want to build. I've actually designed an actual house, and I designed a tiny house because I need to build the tiny house first.
Yeah.
Because it costs less money, and the actual house is going to cost a lot more money. So I need to build me something small and then build up something bigger. And let me see if I can turn this camera. Anyways,
and while he getting that taken care of, I'm rocking a Team Hernandez shirt. Hey, if I didn't tell you in the beginning, Luis Hernandez, thank you for supporting the veterans and everybody that you put on this shirt, to include myself. So, I want to give a salute to you, man, for saluting the vets and everything. We truly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. It's just I got some cousins that joined the military, and I feel like everyone deserves to be respected, and they deserve to be known for what they do.
Absolutely, man.
This is going to be a 2-story home that I'm designing.
Okay.
And this one over here is my little tiny house, which I have to be able to use up the least amount of space, but make it feel homey.
Yeah.
And
Are you going to build them on the same lot?
yes, the tiny
Okay.
house is actually 18 foot by 24 feet, so it's not that big. The house is actually 36 foot by 36 foot, and they're both going to be 2 stories. So,
All right.
uh, I've got a lot of experience in construction, and I went to school to be an architect, so I learned something. And I'm trying to do something with my life. Not just have one life where I'm just boxing or just working.
Yeah.
I'm able to do many things.
How many years you got left in the sport, man? Speaking about transitioning, over to building a home and everything. So, how long your calendar have you staying in the sport?
I guess the real answer is time.
All right.
Only time can tell. Like I said, I got bad knees. I tore my ACLs playing soccer in college, and I got screws in my knees, so they bother me a lot every now and then.
Okay.
They don't affect me in boxing or like my fighting. That they don't affect it at all. It's just like when I'm sitting down or just every now and then when it's cold, when it rains, I get aches and it really drains my energy. So I don't know. I feel like each day that goes by, I feel older, and I don't know. It just depends on time.
I hear you. Hey, man, I know you got things to do. Once again, I want to thank you for stopping through, man, with World Combat Sports. It's been a pleasure, kind of seeing your growth. Well, definitely a pleasure seeing your growth in boxing, coming along as you have in the sport, progressing with your skill set, learning more from one of the legends of boxing and Roy Jones Jr. And of course, all the boxers that down there that you've worked with. Shout out to Angel Santana and everybody else that's down there. I appreciate what you do, man. You have a lot of cojones, so to speak, a lot of heart to step over into bare knuckle fighting. Not everybody, like I said, with your experience would even consider that. Even for a paycheck, they wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't step over there and split the ropes and say, I'm going over here to BKFC and do it. But man, I want to thank you and give you a big salute once again for supporting the veterans and for your career. All the best to you out there in the trenches, man, making it happen.
Yes, sir. You're welcome, and thank you for the interview. Um, I've been following World Combat Sports on Facebook and Instagram, and like I said, thank you for the interview and thank you for the time. Everybody going continue following World Combat Sports. Bringing you all kind of entertainment. And
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro.
yes, sir. And the one last thing, since you asked me about how long I'm gonna be boxing, I don't know how long, but whenever I'm done boxing, I would like to go back to school and finish architecture. I would like to be an architect one day and possibly become one of the most recognized architects there is. That's going to take years, but that's one of my goals, one of my dreams, to go back and finish school.
Hey, sound plans, man. I'm talking about solid plans, looking ahead.
Yes, sir.
That's what it's all about, man. Not just holding boxing as your primary way of living and saying that's it, but you have alternative plans, man, and that's to be an architecture, and I respect that. Thank you for stopping through, Lewis. Much appreciated, man. Salute to you, and I wish you nothing the best out there, man, as you get it in. And I look to have you back on, man. Whenever your next fight is.
Yes, sir. And you have a good night, and I wish you well and wish you success in what you do.
For sure, man. The same to you also. And appreciate those in the live chat that had questions for Luis Hernandez. And I'll see you again, brother. Thank you.
Sir. I'll be talking to you. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Salute. Take it easy, man.
Yes, sir. You too.
What's good, everybody? I see in the chat. Appreciate everyone who stopped through. And was able to provide their comments and input to Luis Hernandez. I truly appreciate the input, man, because he's just another fighter out there that is working his way up in the sport of boxing, and also had the courage to cross thread over into another combat sport when boxing wasn't allowing him to make a living anymore. You know, those of you that tune in know boxing is still trying to get the wheels spinning a little bit. So guess what? You know, some fighters like Luis Hernandez got to jump over and go to a plan B or C. And he went over the bare knuckle fighting. And as you heard, it's no joke. It's like no joke, man. I can vouch for that. I was there, I think maybe 2 or 3 fight cards. And it's no joke, man. It's absolutely no joke. You know, making that commitment to go over there and fight a mixed martial artist that turned over the bare knuckle, that has, I believe, twice as much experience that he has in combat sports, and to go over there with no wraps on your knuckles and go 5 rounds without being knocked out, and then make it to the final bell, and your opponent looked like the worst. You know, he took like he wore the fight the worst, but yeah, he came up short on the decision. But I got mad respect for him, man. Seriously. Thank you for stopping through. And once again, like I said, this is his shirt right here. He sent me a shirt a while back. Team Hernandez. The names on it are all veterans. So, you know, like he said, he has cousins that went into the military. And I don't even get on here and, you know, talk about military all the time, you know, but I appreciate the ones who recognize it, you know. And ones like a Luis Hernandez that's out here in the trenches, grinding it out. And, you know, he basically letting us know that I'm a box for a certain period of time, but my primary objective is to be one of the best architectures in the world. And that right there just proves that not every boxer is in this for a lifetime, and they just settle for boxing and they don't have any other alternatives. And, you know, that's a proven point right there with Hernandez. So good shit, man. Guido asked about what promotional company he was. He wasn't signed with a promotional company, so he was just going from fight card to fight card. He's 8-0, 6 knockouts, and he's a very tough fighter, man. And he's learned a lot. I had the opportunity to stay down there when he was training over a year ago and everything. So I had the opportunity to see some training that was in there on Bodyhead Island with Roy Jones Jr. and the whole, you know, the group of fighters that was there at the time with Hernandez. And yeah, you know, they was getting it in, man. Salute to D Hodges in the building. Glenn Avery say smart dude. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Guido say salute Lewis, God bless. Glenn Avery say great interview. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I like covering these. I wouldn't call him a grassroots fighter anymore, but he is still building his resume. Period. He is still building his resume. There's no way around that. There's a lot of fighters that's out there that's on that level that's building up their resume. And it takes a while, man. Shout out to Skip Crumpler in the building, man. The box father himself, man. I can't tell y'all to go follow Skip Crumpler because he everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I am going to give you an interview. I'm doing an article on Skip, right? But I have to wait for the interview to put the article out along with, you know, my interview. Skip has been in the game for quite some time, man. And he's allowed me to experience a different side of boxing when it comes to how it works on the ground side. The ground side of boxing. I learned a lot from Skip on how things work on the ground side. And I try to tell people it's a different ball game when you go into these regional cards. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing what these fighters have to experience. You get to meet these fighters that's coming up through the ranks. I'm telling you, man, it's some grand experience, man. It's you learn a lot showing up to these regional cards, sitting through the entire fight card, seeing how this fighter fights, you know, seeing them on another fight card, you know, getting to know where they're going in their career, where they've been in their career, who they fought in their career. Because if you go to enough regional cards, sometimes you will see the same fighters fighting another fighter that you may know, and you get to see how they fight that particular opponent. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, it's a grand experience. But appreciate that, Glenn Avery. I appreciate that, man. Hey, Skip, sooner or later, man. Hey, Skip is 60. I think he's 67 and still in better shape than a lot of us, man. So I appreciate you stopping through, man. Real talk. Are you gonna be out there at Rock Hill? That Skip. Guido say, how would you describe his fighting style? Hernandez fighting style. I would say from seeing him grow, I will have to give him a compliment on when he knows on what he knows how to do. If he chooses to box and keep it close, he knows how to keep it close. But listen, he just finished a bare knuckle fight. What I appreciated about his skill set was his defense too. I seen some pockets. I seen some behavior. Some of those teachings of Roy Jones Jr. when he was in there with fighting that bare knuckle fighting. The way he was slipping underneath the right hand. I mean, I've seen a lot of what he was being taught down there and how he picked up that skill set. So from the first time I seen him fight boxing to what I've seen recently, it's changed. Like, he's a tough dude, man. And plus he has defense also. He's pretty slick. I was amazed, man. I was amazed at his performance, you know, because he walked up out of there. Neither one of his eyes was closed. His opponent's eye was, you know, his opponent right eye was swelled up pretty good. His opponent wore the fight more than Hernandez did. But I'm gonna tell you, he came up, man. So I can't really put his particular fighting style, but when he chooses to come forward, he can. You'll see what he's learned from Roy Jones and some of his countering and his offense. Just look at the fight, man. I think it's still out there. Okay, Skip said he'll be 68 Sunday. I'll be in Rock Hill Saturday. Okay, for sure, Skip. I'm not gonna let it out the bag. I'm gonna save it for another show with Skip Crumpler, because what he was able to do for boxing has never been done by anybody else. Period. And I'm not gonna put it out there right now. I want to wait till I'm able to get the interview so he can tell his story. But every time I show up at the fight, Skip too damn busy. You know what I'm saying? He wrapping hands for several fighters. He's out and about, man. I'm just going to wait for the interview. I'm not going to let everything out the bag, you know, but I appreciate all the knowledge you gave me, man, for sure. Yeah, Guido, I can't really put his particular style. I would say he has a pretty good concept on how he should go in there and box and not take damage. You know what I'm saying? That's in a nutshell right there. He's able to box, place his punches correctly, and also slip the counters that he has to without taking a lot of extensive punishment. And you will see some of Roy Jones Jr., you know, his technique, his behavior, on how he, you know, respond to his opponents, throwing, you know, combinations. You will see that. You will see that. Absolutely. I'm not exaggerating that by no means. But check out the fight, man. But besides that, man, I'm not gonna stay on here too long. I appreciate Lewis stopping by. Every one of you, Glenn Avery, Guido, H Money, Mr. The Zone, D Hodges, SB90, Denise Ward's in the building. And let me see if I missed anybody. But those of you that stopped by, that's what's up, man. Thanks for your support as always. I'm gonna get up out of here, man, and shut this interview down. But stay tuned. I have some other interviews that's on deck. I'm just trying to link up the communication with these people as always. And I look forward to it. Shout out to Team Punisher. You know, shout out to John Orange, James, all them cats. Check out my Facebook group and my page, man. And, you know, support some of these young fighters that's on the grassroots, like up there in North Augusta, where I went up there and was able to, you know, kind of, you know, have an evening of sparring, you know, do some interviews, take some pics. And listen, You all may not know who these guys are. You may not know, but understand a lot of fighters are in the same position when they're coming up. You may not know who they are, but you need to pay attention to the grassroots side of the house, because it's a lot of diamonds in there. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of fighters that's diamonds, and they just wait for their moment to shine. You know what I'm saying? They just waiting. So, you know, shout out to Paul Williams, man. It was a pleasure, you know, speaking to a legend himself. And no telling what could have happened if he stayed in the sport of boxing. No telling. If he never would have had that accident, no telling what he could have done. Like I told him in the interview, you know, check out the interview, man. You know, it was a day that they also recognized him having a birthday. So check out the interview, man. You know, I kind of touched on the fight he had with Quintana. I didn't go too much in depth about, you know, being that it was sparring going on and he had to get to the ringside. I didn't touch on the day that his boxing career ended. But I do know this, potentially at that point in time, I told him he could have possibly been the one to hand Canelo his first loss. Paul Williams could have potentially been that fighter to hand Canelo his first loss, man. So the grind don't stop. The grind don't stop, people. But I'm out. Definitely get up with y'all again. Salute to everyone. And appreciate you. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.